that situation is not gonna kill you. I know that in your mind you're like, I think I just want to leave. I just want to forget this world. I don't think I'll be able to come out of this. But I'm coming to you as someone who has been there. I'm coming to you as someone who has experienced something or some things that have made me feel like I would rather be with Jesus forever than to remain here. I know that situation is making you feel like maybe you should run away. Maybe you should leave everywhere. You should leave where you are right now. I know that's how you feel. And I'm saying this because I've been there. I know how there are things that happen to us that make us feel like we're not going to survive it. Like this pain is too much. No human being should go through this pain. But let me tell you something. You are going to be fine. One thing that I've come to learn is that the easiest state that we can be in for God to mold us into who He wants us to be is when we are broken. Pain makes it easiest for God to mold us. Now, I'm not saying God brings us pain. He has no evil to give us. But sometimes life happens. And there is nothing that happens that God does not know about. So if God allowed it to happen to you, if it passed through God and God is like, okay, that's because you are stronger than that particular thing. I know that in your mind you're like, no, Leah, you don't understand. This pain is too much. I've been there. When you cry to the point where you can't even cry anymore because you don't even have tears. Your eyes are so red and swollen that you can't open them properly. When you cry to the point where you're on the floor, you're weak from pain, you're in the best state. Because until we come to the end of ourselves, Christ does not begin to live through us. So I'm here to tell you that you're going to be fine. In fact, the day that I call it the evil day, that is the day your elevation begins. That is the day you begin to step into the possibility of becoming who God has called you to be. I know you're tired. I know you're like, yeah, I've been in this pain for the past 3 years. I don't know why it's not going. Well, maybe that's why you're watching this video. And I'm just here to encourage you. I'm going to read from the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 10. We all know that scripture, right? So before that, let me start from verse 11. So he was talking about the children of Israel, how they went through the Red Sea and all of that stuff, and the temptation, and all of that. And he said, and how they complained. So literally all their journey, they were just complaining, right? So he said, now all these things happened to them as examples, and they were written for our admonition, upon whom the ends of the age have come. 12. Therefore, let him who thinks he stands take heed lest he fall. Now, let me stop there before I continue. Do you know that until you go through some things, you would not respect some people that have been in some places or that are in some places? Until you've gone through some things. You know how people say, why is she crying? Because somebody broke up with her. And then these people get married. And then they have to go through, some of them have to go through a divorce. I'm not laughing at them or anything. And then they cry. Now, the painful part is that even hurts more. But guess what? When that kind of person comes out, what happens is when somebody that is going through a divorce comes to them, like for example, someone that is heartbroken comes to me and she's crying. And most of the time, what I hear from them is, I know I should not be crying this much. I'm like, who told you you're not supposed to be crying this much? The pain you feel is directly proportional to how much you have invested in the relationship. Right? Okay? So, sometimes, if you don't take heed, if you're not careful, you think you are the Django. You think you are the kuru kere kere, the one where they stand, the one where no fit fall for man, until one tall, dark, handsome man comes, speaking in tongues. Rich, everything you've been looking for. And then God is telling you, don't do it. And just like we that have also disobeyed before, that you laughed at us, you say, this is not the voice of God that is telling me not to do it. After I've waited, this one has come like this. This is God's plan. And then you go in. And then you come out with pain. And then you realize that even the best of us falls. Anyone that it is. So take heed if you're standing, lest you fall. Okay? So 1 Corinthians 10:13, which is our highlight Bible verse, it says, no temptation has overtaken you except such as is common to man, right? But God is faithful, who will not allow you to be tempted beyond what you are able. 1. 2. But with the temptation will make the way of escape, that you may be able to bear it. Now, while this is about temptation and all of that, trials can also be temptation, because there are things that you go through that you'll be tempted to do some things that you know are not godly, right? So now this is how we're going to apply it by the grace of God and with the help of God. There is nothing that you go through that is not common to man. I know it's cliche, like, oh, there are people in the world who have also gone through these things. Yeah, that's the truth. But it says that God is faithful. So how is God faithful? What is this faithfulness of God all about? He says he will not permit for you to go through more than you can bear. Now let this be comfort to you. If you are going through it, it's because you can bear it. If you are going through something, it is because there is something in you that is greater than it. It's because you can handle it, you can bear it. And he says,